Beruchim Habayim. Moshe Langado, speaking under the auspices of Kollel Baruch Ahavat Yisrael in San Diego, California, and Sha'rei Tziyon here in Brooklyn, New York. This week, we'll be reading Parshat LECH LECHA. We are introduced to the father of our nation, Abraham Avinu, Abraham. But before we speak about Abraham, let me tell you over a legend. There was the great moralist, Rabbi Yisrael Salander, and he was asked by the great halachist, the Gadol Hador, the Chafetz Chaim, to give an approbation to one of his books. Of course, Rabbi Yisrael Salander read the book, and now he was amazed by one of the halachot that the Chafetz Chaim wrote. The halacha was that if a person goes and slights his friend through lashon hora or another way of debasing him in front of people, and now he wants mechila, he has to go to his friend and tell him exactly what he did. Rabbi Yisrael Salander could not accept that psak. He said, Chafetz Chaim, how could you expect mechila by doing what? By making somebody else feel bad. By me telling my friend that I hurt him, I said lashon hara about him, that will increase his pain. And all for what? So I could get teshuvah? I have to hurt my friend to be able to receive some sort of teshuvah? In the eyes of Rabbi Yisrael Salander, that can't be. He said, I'm sorry, I cannot give you my letter of approbation for your book. And by the way, I heard that when we have a machloket between Rabbi Yisrael Salander and the Chafetz Chaim in moral issues, Rav Aaron Kotler said, we go after Rabbi Yisrael Salander. Therefore, if a person hurt his friend by saying lashon hara or any other way, and if he tells him it will hurt him more, you ask mechila in a general manner, please forgive me for whatever I did. But you don't have to be specific if it's going to hurt the person. Now, what does that have to do with Abraham? And I'll tell you. Abraham Avinu went down to Egypt. And in Egypt, he became very wealthy through the gifts given to him by the king of Egypt, Pharaoh. And he accepted them. But in a few chapters, another king, another ruthless and king would offer him presents. And Abraham said, no. Should people say that the king of Sodom made me rich? Soneh matanotiche, he would not accept. So why from Pharaoh did he accept? And I will give you an original answer. That when Abraham went down to Mitzrayim, he had very little. And he had to stay by people's homes and inns and lodges on the way. And all was through credit. And now that he was going back to Eretz Yisrael, it was time to pay up his debt. And he really had no money. But when Pharaoh started giving him money, now he saw a way to pay his debt. He could have been a chassid and told Pharaoh, I don't accept your gifts. But it wouldn't only have consequences to him, it would have consequences to those people who lent the money. So he should be a chassid on their pockets. They lent the money, they were good enough to lend the money. And now he had a chance to have money to give it back. Abraham said, I cannot be machmir, be overly zealous on somebody else's account. So he would take the money from Pharaoh and pay all his debts. But once he was in Sodom, he already was wealthy. He did not need the money to pay back debts. Therefore, he told the king of Sodom, I don't need your money. I don't want your money. My friends, we should realize that we strive to climb the ladder of spirituality. We try to climb the ladder of morality, but we can't step on people on the way. The story goes with our great moralist, Rabbi Moshe Langado. He went to a wealthy man's house for the Shabbat meal. And in those days, there was no plumbing. There was no running water in the house. There would be a maid. She would go to the river. She would go to the pump the water, bring it into the house in pitchers. When it was time to do Netilat Yadayim, washing the hands for the bread, the rich man took a generous amount of water and washed his hands. But when it came time for Yisrael Salanter to wash his hands, he took a miserly amount, just the minimum, to wash his hands. And the rich man said, "Rabbi, why so little? Don't the good books say that when you wash your hands, when you use an abundance of water, it's a great segula?" And came Rabbi Yisrael Salanter and said, "How does the water come into the house? On the backs and on the shoulders of a poor maid, a poor woman. I should be stringent. I should be zealous in the mitzvot on her back." What a beautiful idea. That, yes, we should be climbing the ladder and being closer to God as much as possible. But don't step on other people. Don't hurt other people while you're doing it. Yes, when you go to the river, Fadal, use all the water you want. But when you rely on her to bring the water, when you rely on another person's generosity, then that's something else. Then don't be so machmir. Don't be so strict. Bezrat Hashem, if we all have a warm feeling for our fellow Jew, for our fellow man, that will be really the times of Mashiach. And we'll all be able to walk together in peace, tranquility, into our holy city of Yerushalayim. Shabbat Shalom.